The year is 1260. A shadow has fallen across the world, deeper and darker than any in living memory. From the high steppes of Asia, a storm of iron and fire has broken over the horizon, and for the first time in history, it seems the light of Islamic civilization is about to be extinguished forever. But history is not written by the many, it is forged by the few. This is the saga of a man born a prince, broken into slavery, and risen as a savior. This is the story of Saif al-Din Qutuz and the day the invincible Mongol horde finally met its match at the Spring of Goliath. To understand the stakes of Ain Jalut, one must understand the terror of the Mongols. They were not merely an army, they were a cataclysm. Under Hulagu Khan, the grandson of Genghis, the Mongol war machine had turned the Fertile Crescent into a graveyard. In 1258, the unthinkable happened. Baghdad, the jewel of the world, fell. For 5 centuries, it had been the heart of science, philosophy, and power. In 40 days of slaughter, the Mongols ended an era. They didn't just kill people, they killed ideas. The great House of Wisdom was burned, and the Tigris River reportedly ran black with the ink of 1,000,000 books and red with the blood of 1,000,000 souls. With Baghdad in ashes and Syria falling, the Mongols turned their predator's gaze toward the last standing bastion, Egypt. While the world trembled, a man named Qutuz was preparing. His life was a masterclass in resilience. Born a royal of the Khwarezmian Empire, he had watched the Mongols butcher his family and tear his kingdom apart. He was sold into the slave markets of Syria, a prince stripped of everything but his spirit. His captors called him qutuz, the savage beast, because he possessed a ferocity they could not tame. He was eventually bought by the Mamluks of Egypt, an elite caste of slave warriors. Here, the boy who had lost a kingdom found a brotherhood. He rose through the ranks of this warrior meritocracy, not through bloodline, but through the sharp edge of his sword and the cold brilliance of his mind. When the Mongol threat reached Egypt's doorstep, the ruling sultan was a mere boy. Qutuz knew that a child could not stop a hurricane. In a move of desperate necessity, he seized the throne. He didn't want a crown, he wanted a shield for his people. Hulagu Khan sent his envoys to Cairo with a letter that read like a funeral dirge for the West. It was filled with terrifying poetry. Our horses are swift, our arrows sharp, our swords like thunderbolts. Fortresses will not detain us. Your prayers to God will not avail against us. The message was clear: submit or vanish. Inside the Sultan's palace, the air was thick with the smell of fear. Powerful emirs whispered of surrender, their knees shaking at the memory of Baghdad's ruins. Qutuz stood alone. In a roar that echoed through the halls of history, he shamed them. Who will defend Islam if not us? To ensure there was no turning back, no room for cowardice or negotiation, Qutuz took the Mongol envoys and executed them. He hung their heads on the gates of Cairo. The bridge was burned. There was no diplomacy left, only the steel of the Mamluks. On September 3rd, 1260, the 2 most formidable military forces on earth met at Ain Jalut in Palestine. Qutuz was a master of the terrain. He knew he couldn't beat the Mongols in a straight charge on open ground. He hid the bulk of his heavy cavalry in the forested hills of the valley, leaving only a vanguard under his most trusted general, the lion-hearted Baybars. The trap is sprung. Baybars engaged the Mongols and then executed a fighting retreat. A feigned flight that the Mongols, in their arrogance, believed was a sign of Mamluk collapse. The Mongol general Kitbuka ordered a full-scale pursuit, charging headlong into the narrow valley. Suddenly, the trap snapped shut. From the surrounding hills, thousands of Mamluk warriors erupted with a deafening cry. The Mongols were surrounded, their mobility, their greatest weapon, strangled by the narrow walls of the valley. The battle was a nightmare of blood and dust. At the height of the carnage, the Mongol left flank broke through the Mamluk lines. The defense began to waver. Panic, that old enemy, began to spread through the Muslim ranks. In that heartbeat of history, Qutuz did the unthinkable. He tore off his armored helmet, exposing his face to the arrows and blades, so his men could see their king was with them in the dirt. He charged into the thickest part of the slaughter, his voice booming over the roar of battle. Wa Islam! Wa Islam! Oh my Islam! The sight of their sultan, unprotected and fighting like a man possessed, turned the tide. The Mamluks didn't just fight, they became a wall of iron. The Mongol lines buckled. General Kitbuka was struck down. For the first time in 40 years, the Mongol horde turned and fled in a state of total shattered defeat. The victory at Ain Jalut changed the world forever. It broke the spell of Mongol invincibility. It saved Egypt, the holy cities of Mecca and Medina, and the remnants of Islamic scholarship from total erasure. Though Qutuz would tragically fall to an assassin's blade shortly after the victory, the fire he lit did not go out. The Mamluks became the undisputed guardians of the East, ushering in a new golden age of architecture, science, and law.